Hi, this is Pat Walker at Mission Winners. Doing an analysis on bar charts and how to go deeper when you're reading them. By so doing, you will be better than the competition. You will know more than most people. This isn't fancy. This is not algebra. It's very simple. But if we train our eyes and we train our mind on what to look for, you will see things that others don't. You will be able to make better decisions than others. You will be able to make more money with less risk. And you will also be able to avoid problems. You will know when to get in, when to push it, when to get out, when to stay out. And I'm going to give you an example right here. And we're going to go through, maybe not every bar in this chart, but we're going to hit some bars. Spiders, these are daily charts. And I need to explain something to you, and we're going to grab this bar right here. You see that bar? To the left, you see that little hash mark? That's the open. That's where the stock opened. That little hash mark there is where it closed. And the range, that's the high here, and that's the low. Combine that action with volume, and you will really be in charge of your destiny. Most people gloss over this. Don't. Take the time, and I will share this with you, honest to goodness. After you've looked at them for a while, you train your eyes and mind, you can go through 30 charts in a minute, 2 minutes, and you know what's going on. You got it down. And they really don't teach this too much, but we do. And this isn't fancy, this isn't algebra, this isn't hocus pocus. We're not looking at oscillators and a bunch of other crud. We're looking at the chart itself. Right here, this bar. You can say, Patrick, it gapped up, it closed near its highs on, right here's important, just above average daily volume. So is it a powerful bar? Price-wise, it's a powerful bar. Volume-wise, it's just okay. It wasn't that strong. You need volume. Volume is the power that lifts the ship off the ground. It's the fuel. The next day, the stock gaps down and drops like a rock and closes in the bottom third or fourth of its range for the day on extremely heavy volume. See that? The next day, and I'm going to do something for you to help you. The next day, it gaps up. See the open right there? It gaps up and it runs up, and then it drops down. But you could say, Patrick, it closed in the top half of its range. You are correct. It did. But there is still overall serious selling pressure in this chart right here on this bar. Let's go back. Look at that bar right there. Can you unequivocally say to yourself, oh, that's a buy setup. Yeah, that looks really good. No, you can't. You can't. It's not. Advance at a bar. And it goes down again. On this bar, it gaps down and closes near its lows on less volume, but still heavy volume, much less than average. Look at this. The blue line's average daily volume. And then it goes up and you say, oh, this is great. This is the start. Look at that. Everything's great. It gaps up. It closes up. It's great. It's a green bar. How's the fuel? How's the power? How's the volume? The volume's less than these bars. There's not a lot of power there. And then what's it do? The next day it gaps down, gaps up, and drops down again on about the same volume. But there's no power there. And then you have this bar where it gaps up and it actually closes just a hair above the previous close, but it closes below where it opens. It's on the 50-day. Nothing special. And it starts to lift a little bit. How's the volume on this bar, folks? It's nothing special. There's no real power there. starts to pick up. Is there any real power there? No. And then gaps up and drops and closes down near the lows on a pickup in volume. There's no power there. And then it drops down again. Look at that. Combining price and volume, looking at each of them bar by bar, gives us a leg up over other people. I'm going to show you some other examples. We're looking at Amazon. It's running up. It's trending. We bought it here. Okay? Breaking this trend line. See the volume on that bar? I say this a lot with the VIPs. People talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. Go where they're voting. They voted on this bar. Look at the volume pickup versus these bars. And it trends nicely. But what's happening? How's the volume? It's going up, and there's not a lot of volume. There's not a lot of power. And what happens? Finally, it exhausts itself, and you get this. It gaps down versus the previous day's close and drops like a rock. And look at the volume pickup. Serious volume. The next day, it gaps down, falls all the way to the 50-day, rallies off the 50-day, but still closes down below the previous day's close and below the open on heavy volume. It's not that good of a bar, folks. And then it goes down again on above average daily volume. And then you can say, but Pat, look at the next bar. It gaps up and it closes in the top half of its range. It's a green bar. It's bouncing off the 50-day. That's it. That's the buy. This is it. How's the volume? Where's the power? There's no volume. There's no power. The next day it gaps up and reverses down again on a pickup in volume. There's not a lot of power there. We have to always look at price and volume. I'm going to show you some more. Alibaba breaks out. We bought this here on this bar. Clean and simple base, folks. Nothing fancy. I'll draw it for you. There it is. It's just, it doesn't have to be a cup and a handle. Look at the volume pickup on that bar. And look at how it closed. And the next day it gaps up. And the next day it runs up again. And the next day it goes up again. And then it falls. And notice the volume on this bar. It's substantially less than these 4 heavy volume bars going up. And then it goes up, but on no volume. Falls on a slight pickup in volume. And then it goes up on about the same volume and closes strong. Drops down right here on low volume. And then it starts to drop on a slight pickup in volume. You combine that with the action of the market, and it tells you sell some into strength and be getting lighter. And that's what we did. It's not that hard. Let's find another one. By the way, I'll take it a step further. This bar here closes down on a slight pickup in volume, closes up a little bit on no volume, closes up a little bit on no volume. There's not a lot of power with it right now. Maybe it will come in tomorrow, but at this moment, it's not exhibiting any real power. We'll watch and see. Here's another valuable lesson related to price bars. The charts. This bar here, it gaps up and closes near the highs. Everything's great. The next day it gaps down. The next day it drops and closes up. No volume. This bar, everybody looks at this bar right here. It's a green bar. Everything's great. This is the open right there. You see that to the left? See the open? It runs up and it closes down below the open on a pickup in volume. And then you can say, well, Pat, the next day, though, it closed near its highs. How was the volume that day? There's no real power. The next day, what's it do, folks? See where it opens up? It gaps up. It's great. Let's buy. Everything's beautiful. Runs up, gaps up, runs up just a hair, and then drops like a rock on a big pickup in volume versus the previous bars. Look at how loose this is. This will chew you up. Focus on clean and simple chart entries, and you will be better than the competition. Let's look at some more. Here's another example. Max list stock, Goldman Sachs. And remember, Charts are a reflection of human emotions. Price and volume. Open, high, low, close. Right here, people look at that bar on Goldman Sachs and say, that's a green bar on heavy volume. That's just great. Look where it opened on that bar. Gaps up huge. Runs up, closes in the bottom third of its range, maybe the bottom fourth of its range on extremely heavy volume. It's a tail bar. Gap drops down, and falls. And then it runs up again. Look at this bar. Gaps up, runs up, closes down near the lows on a pickup in volume. Next day it's a quiet day, and then it falls again. Tail bar, chopping around. Tail bar, chopping around. I marked them. Charts have personalities. They are a reflection of human emotions. When you learn to read the charts, you are in control. It's what we teach at Mission Winners. You're in control. Let's look at some more. Google, max list stock, trending nicely, closes strong on decent volume. You're riding trends, everything's great. The next day it gaps down and drops like a darn rock on the heaviest volume of this entire move. Look at that. What is that, folks? That is a signal telling you, hey, you might want to sell some of me. Don't get lazy with me. If you bought me down here, you better sell some into strength. And what do some people do? No, it's Google. Everything's going to be fine. And the next day it falls again on fairly heavy volume. And the next day it gaps down and falls again on fairly heavy volume. And guess what? If you bought it here and you had close to a 200-point profit, almost 200-point profit, oh gosh, in 4 days, it's all gone. All gone. On all these chart examples I'm showing you, I have to tell you something. Not once did I look at a 5-minute chart. Not once. I hardly ever look at 10-minute charts. I look at daily, weekly, hourly, 30-minute, and that's it. Let's look at another example. I hope this is helping you. I love doing this stuff. Do a couple more lessons for you here. Charts. You ever heard the phrase, birds of a feather flock together? This is Visa. What's the sister stock to Visa? MasterCard. There you go. Look at Visa. Rallying up. Looks good. Decent base. Lifting up. Volume's okay. Running up. Runs up. Hits highs. Right here. On this date. 9/2. What's it do the next day? Gaps down and drops on a big pickup in volume. The next day, gaps up a hair and drops down on a big pickup in volume. The next day, gaps down and closes near its lows on a pickup in volume. I mean, folks, the entire gain, this gain from here to here is gone in 2 days, basically. This day and this day, it's gone. Gone. Don't argue with price, and especially price combined with volume. It makes it easier for you. That's Visa. Are you ready? What do you think's the next stock we should look at? Visa, and then we take a look at, remember this right here, we look at MasterCard. Rallying up, hits a top, falls down on a slight pickup in volume, not the end of the world, falls on slightly heavier volume, rallies up on much less volume than these, or less volume than this bar, not a lot of power, and then what happens? Gaps down and drops like a Dane rock on heavy volume, and then does it again the next day. Surprise, surprise. You bought this here, your gain is gone. And folks, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to overthink it. It will tell you. Price and volume will tell you what to do. You don't have to day trade it. You don't have to micromanage it. It works great. Let's look at one more. Microsoft. Big name stock. Rallying up. Closes pretty strong. On good volume. Advance it 1 day. Quiet inside day on less volume. Still fairly constructive. Starts to fall. What's something that catches your eyes? You don't have to micromanage it, folks. We're just doing this on a day chart. It falls on a slight pickup in volume. factor into the equation what the market's doing on that day, and maybe it would make you a little more cautious. This date is August 31st. I'm going to write that down and we'll take a look and see if it means anything, okay? So advance it one day. Just a quiet inside day. Not a lot of volume, not a lot of power. Oh, it picks up again on a pickup in volume. That's good. Volumes pick up. A little bit less than this, but the trend is still up. We'll just watch it. And then you get the gap down, and it drops like a darn rock. If you had bought this, and you see this happening, what do you have to do? I'm a long-term investor. I'm going to stay with it. I'm not selling. Okay. All right, your whole gain is gone, and now you have a loss. And now you're really hurting. You see where I'm going with it? Then it does this. Then it does this. Now it's down here. You see what I'm getting at? You don't do that to yourself. It just chews you up. Chews you up. If you just look at price and volume on a day chart, it'll tell you almost everything that you need to know. Let's see if we can find one more. Here's the last lesson. DraftKings. Just a nice long base. Has some tops up here and tops here. It's not a fancy chart pattern, just a long base with resistance at the same price here as here. That's all. You just see a nice flat line. Went up on good volume here. See that? Pulls back for a couple of days on less volume. Starts to pick up again on steadily increasing volume. And isn't it ironic that it stops right here? Do you ever wonder why it stopped right here? Do you ever think about this? I'll say this, and it's very important. Charts are a reflection of a people's human emotions. Fear, greed, panic, complacency. This stock ran up and basically stopped on a dang dime on that line from here. Why do you think that happened, folks? Why do you think that happened? You think there were people that bought this stock up here and held on to it and it drops like a dang rock, and you lose almost half your money. Well, not quite half your money, but you lose a lot. And then it rallies all the way back up to your price. What do most people do when it gets back to your price? Have you ever been there? Are you the break-even investor? Are you? Hey, I bought it at 30, the thing fell to 20. I'm telling you what, if that sucker gets back to 30, I'm selling, Ethel. I'm out of it. Yep. Runs right up to it, and what's it do? They backed it off this day and this day. Sellers hit it. Sellers hit it. Now what's the plus? Went up on pretty heavy volume and fell on less volume. Look at that. And you got clean tops here. Advance it one day. Boom! Payday. Look at the volume on that bar, folks. It's freaking huge. On this bar, the volume was 14.7 million shares. On this bar, 50 million shares. The volume on this bar is more than 3 times the volume on this bar. You got this, you got that, this, down a bit, right there. There you go. What's it doing? It's walking up the 8-period exponential moving average right here. Isn't that nice? When's it going to stop? I don't know. Did we sell a little bit of profits? Yeah. We pyramided twice, and then we locked some gains in up here. Now we're in good shape. Picture this, folks. This stock can come all the way down and lose the AD, and we still made great profits. We made great profits. We're in the driver's seat. Learn to read the charts. Open, high, low, close, and volume. And you will be light years ahead of the competition. You'll be in charge of things.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.